Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Hi, guys. Castle time. Preemptive like, Memory Seekers, phenomenal channel. Hope you guys are doing well. My name's Connor, Arundel Castle. Let's check it out.
Arundel Castle is one of the greatest attractions of West Sussex, with a history spanning nearly 1,000 years. We take a walk around the impressive grounds that overlook the River Arun and the beautiful town below. If you missed last week's video, we've already toured the historic streets and lanes of the town and shared some of the fascinating history. So do check historic streets and lanes of the town and shared some of the...
What a great shot. Just crop out that top of the car there. But these are called half timber houses, right? The trees and then the castle in the background.
Fascinating history. So do check that out at the end. We enter the castle grounds from the lower lodge entrance. Parking is conveniently just across the road in Mill Road, costing £5 for a day. For the latest ticket information and opening times, check out this website. The castle looked very different 1,000 years ago when Roger de Montgomery, Earl of Arundel, was commissioned to build it by William the Conqueror in 1067.
What a beautiful castle right off the bat. Is there a staircase in this? Just because of the window angling, I just imagine a really big...
The oldest part, the keep, was built on top of an artificial mound called the Motte, following the Norman conquest in 1066. It was originally constructed of timber, providing 360-degree views across the South Downs and out to sea.
Beautiful landscape.
Roger de Montgomery was one of the principal councillors of William the Conqueror, and was gifted land as a thank you for his support in the conquest.
Question. So this is a artificial mound. So they just dug up dirt and just sort of wheelbarrowed it, and just stacked it on top and onto. I'm assuming it was already somewhat of a small hill, and then they just built it up. But I'm curious how they did that, because wouldn't that mess up the foundation of the castle itself?
Councillors of William the Conqueror, and was gifted land as a thank you for his support in the conquest, on the understanding that he built a castle for defence. Much of this land we know today as the county of West Sussex. Arundel was a growing important town on the river, and the castle was deemed essential to protect it from attack.
It wasn't very difficult, but I memorized might be a stretch. I don't have it all down, but pretty well, a lot of the English counties. And I know you guys don't view counties, like I saw this in some comments, you don't view counties like we do states, and like it's more of like a city pride than a county pride. Let me know if you disagree there. Maybe I just read one person there that said that. But just kind of knowing, it means a lot to me. Like when he says something like that, I can place it geographically in my head. So obviously this is southern Britain on the close to the channel.
The vast complex is today a result of numerous centuries of expansion, restoration following wars, and improvements by successive owners. Luckily, a number of the original features have still been retained. We are walking in the lower lawns. There is a gardener's market going on today. The castle holds a number of fairs and events throughout the year, and visitors can even enjoy the spectacle of a recreated jousting tournament. Do check the website for what's on. These are the recently opened water gardens. They were the original stew ponds, in which the friaries and castle's inhabitants kept fish for eating in stews. There is a variety of wildlife to observe as you wander the boardwalks and the new thatched boathouse and roundhouse.
Sorry, guys. The pharmacy issues. If I have to stop the video again, it's because I'm talking to a pharmacist, so trying to get a prescription. being difficult. Sorry if you could hear that. Let's go. Sorry.
Which the friaries and castle's inhabitants kept fish for eating in stews. There is a variety of wildlife to observe as you wander the boardwalks and the new thatched boathouse and roundhouse.
Love the wooden railings. Gives me like an African vibe there. What do I know though? Ooh, ooh. So they just get a bunch of this reed-like stuff and just like compress it together and then tie ropes around it and wouldn't it rot over time? Or maybe they use dead. Okay.
The castle has pretty much been in the same family for 800 years. William d'Aubigny, the first Earl of Arundel, inherited the castle in 1138, and since then it has continued to be passed down from father to son and sometimes father to daughter.
I swear, you could tell me this is a recreation of medieval castles that was built with modern stuff in like 2016, and I believe you. It just looks so good.
The FitzAlan family were the owners in the 13th century, and they undertook a large programme of renovations. The FitzAlan male line ceased on the death of Henry FitzAlan, the 12th Earl of Arundel, whose daughter and heiress Mary FitzAlan married Thomas Howard, 4th Duke of Norfolk, in 1555. Thomas's grandfather was the 3rd Duke of Norfolk, and uncle to both Anne Boleyn and Catherine Howard, who would both go on to marry King Henry VIII before being beheaded.
Classic Henry. Nice shot, the flower.
We'll now take a stroll through the Rose Garden, which is seen at its best in June. The season is almost over during our visit. This was formerly the site of an 18th century bowling green.
Okay, so this is a garden, and a yard or a lawn is also a garden. Like, this is what I would call a garden, right? And yet, you guys, okay.
During the English Civil War, Arundel Castle was besieged twice, first by the Royalists and then by the Parliamentarians, whose siege lasted 18 days. Following their victory, many important castles and stately homes were destroyed, and Arundel was badly damaged and left in ruins for 150 years. The Howard family retained ownership of the castle and made a fortune during the Industrial Revolution, allowing them to renovate the castle, giving it a new lease of life and creating a 19th century stately home. Queen Victoria came from Osborne House with her husband Prince Albert for 3 days in 1846. The 13th Duke of Norfolk undertook a large remodelling scheme to accommodate them. The bedroom and library furniture was specifically commissioned for the visit. In 1800,
I'm sure they made good use of the bedroom. Weren't they known to obvious? Never mind. Why do I even?
Arundel Castle opened
I need a filter.
its doors to visitors for the first time
mouth.
to see the keep and gatehouse. From 1856, this included the gardens, but it was not until the railway station was built in 1864 that the numbers rose dramatically, coinciding with the demise of Arundel Port, but creating opportunity for commerce through tourism that's still flourishing today.
That was a cool shot.
The last renovations that show the castle as we see it today were thanks to Henry, the 15th Duke of Norfolk. His project was completed in 1900. We have arrived at the High Street Lodge entrance. The 12th Duke of Norfolk demolished houses at the top of the High Street and moved the route of the London Road to improve the entrance into the castle grounds. We are now making our way to the Fitzalan Chapel, founded in 1380 by the 4th Earl of Arundel. It is in the chancel of the Church of St Nicholas in the western grounds of the castle. If you watched last week, we mentioned the church during our walkabout.
Need to watch that video too.
Entry is through this pretty garden known as the White Garden.
What are these plants doing there? The palm, these ones. Foot scraper.
Unusually, St Nicholas is one of very few church buildings that is divided into two worship areas, a Roman Catholic area, the chancel, and an Anglican area, the nave and transepts. They are separated by iron gates that are only opened on special occasions.
I asked this last video, I gotta check the comments again to see if you answered, but is the Anglican, they broke the Church of England, which is the Anglican Church, right? Broke from, didn't like Pope Henry, didn't, and then, so it's not a Protestant wing, it's a Catholic denomination of, confusing. Religion, different like sects of religion within like the broader religious categories, it confuses the hell out of me.
The Fitzalan Chapel is used as the private mausoleum of the Earls of Arundel and Dukes of Norfolk. A number of noted Fitzalan and Howard family members are buried in the chapel, many in tombs adorned with sculptured effigies. Most notable was Philip Howard, 13th Earl of Arundel. He lived mainly during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. He was charged with being a Roman Catholic, quitting England without leave, and sharing Jesuit plots. For this he was sent to the Tower of London in 1585. Howard spent 10 years in the Tower until his death from dysentery. He was buried in the Tower's church without ceremony, but 29 years later brought to the Fitzalan Chapel with the consent of King James I. He was canonised by Pope Paul VI in 1970 as one of the 40 martyrs of England and Wales. His remains were then moved one final time and enshrined in Arundel Cathedral, at which point the church changed its dedication to Our Lady and St Philip Howard. Continuing our walk around the 40 acres on this lovely day, we are heading to the extraordinary gardens. We were in for a bit of a surprise. The 14th Earl of Arundel, Thomas Howard, was an avid collector, bringing back many exquisite items from a grand tour of Europe. When he died, he possessed 700 paintings along with a large collection of sculptures, marble carvings, books and antique jewellery. He became known as the Collector Earl. Inspired by this story, the garden was given a major makeover by Isabel and Julian Bannerman. Their creation, the Collector Earl's Garden, is where we are walking now, incorporating themes related to Howard's travels in Italy and including designs by his travelling companion, one Inigo Jones.
There's something cool learning about people from a time we would consider historical, and him collecting things that he loves about prior history. I don't know what it is. It's just because I feel like it shows you how everyone lived in the present. That's an obvious thing to say, but I'm saying it for a reason. I think it's obvious, but it can be lost on people. That everyone knew that they were the newest people that were alive, and that them looking back on history makes me realize that there's nothing special about the present. You don't know how much, you don't know the stuff and the amount of stuff that's going to happen, and people are going to view you as a historical. I feel like it's such a difficult thing for people. For a second, I thought I was off hold finally, but no. Oh my God, what was I going to say? Screw you, CVS. It's hard to picture yourself after you are long dead as just one part of history, I think. And that kind of, it's more in your face, how it's like, oh, look at this history. Well, now your history, looking at history. Anyways. Oh, wow. Jesus Christ.
The centerpiece of the garden is the oak Oberon's palace, surrounded by tropical planting. The palace is an exact translation of Inigo Jones' drawings. Inside this pavilion is a shellwork grotto and a fountain that, when the water spurts, magically supports a golden coronet.
Is that really only held up by the water? There's no, doesn't look like there's I pictured it would just be a structure with this thing around it, like a pole with this thing free falling around it so that, the crown couldn't fall off, but it doesn't seem like there is.
From this area, you can look back across the Collector Earl's garden.
There must be something engineered about the bottom of the crown that makes it really stable when the jet is squirted into it.
From this area, you can look back across the Collector Earl's garden. The stumpery was designed and...
Whoa, that looks like the front of a lion's mouth, doesn't it? Almost like a dead lion, like its tongue hanging out. Am I seeing things? Look, its little nose, its upper lip, its mouth. It is. It's like a...
Constructed by head gardener
Am I going
Martin
crazy?
Duncan, utilising roots of ancient yew, sweet chestnut and oak stumps, recovered on the estate mostly from casualties of the famous October 1987 storms. The garden is very well laid out and includes English herbaceous borders, the cut flower garden and the organic kitchen garden that supplies the castle with fresh fruit, vegetables and cut flowers. The first of the two large glass houses contains cultivated exotic and tropical fruits. The second, Victorian, dating from 1850 and restored, is the Vine and Peach House. A selection of autumn fruits and vegetables and a large chili collection are here.
Zimbabwe bird chili. Nepalese. Garden's insane.
Leaving the gardens behind us, we head to the castle and Bevis Tower. Legend says that Bevis, a great giant from ancient times, agreed to become warder of the gate, and the tower was built to accommodate him. From this location you get great views of the keep sitting on the motte and the extensive curtain wall of the castle.
Like, how does he fit in there? But he never said how big a giant they're talking about. For some reason, when they said giant, I imagine like as tall as these towers. Okay, just a large man.
We have dropped down into the dry moat, and it's at this point you can see just how steep and imposing the motte is.
How did they do
a
that?
Perfect deterrent for would-be attackers. During the English Civil War in 1643, the parliamentarians managed to drain the water supply to the castle at nearby Swanbourne Lake. The defending forces managed to hold out for 16 days before being forced to surrender, dying of thirst.
Well done on the besieger. Smart.
Ahead of us is the Barbican, the castle gatehouse, built around 1080. Another of the very original parts of the castle. We would love to show you the interiors, but sadly filming and photography is not allowed inside the castle. It is home to an impressive array of priceless artwork, such as works from Van Dyck, Gainsborough and Canaletto, as well as a
I wonder why it's not allowed. Is it because like they think it would dissuade people from actually going or something?
Collection of furniture, sculptures and tapestries.
Some secret military secret? No. Sorry, what?
Van Dyck, Gainsborough and Canaletto, as well as a vast collection of furniture, sculptures and tapestries. We can, however, share the views from on top of the keep. 131 steep steps bring us up to the strongest and highest point of the castle.
I think I've seen this section of the inside of the castle.
With the sea, River Arun, town and the South Downs all in sight.
One sec, guys. Sorry, guys. Of course, I get off hold and they pick up right when I get to the end here. Let's continue.
We can also see the private apartments of the current Duke that still lives here. The Dukes of Norfolk have been the hereditary Earl Marshals since 1672.
Oh my god, I love this. You just from the color of the gravel on the driveway to the amazing buildings and the grass and the beautiful little bushes here, just perfect.
The Dukes of Norfolk have been the hereditary Earl Marshals since 1672. The office involves the organisation of major state events such as royal weddings, coronations and funerals. The current Duke, Edward William Fitzalan Howard, 18th Duke of Norfolk, organised Queen Elizabeth II's funeral and will continue his duty with the coronation of King Charles III later this year. Well, that's it from Arundel Castle. Hope you enjoyed our time here in the gardens. Amazing place, really interesting. Thanks very much for watching. We've got more like this on the channel, so do subscribe, give us a like, and join us again on our next video.
You should check out the Arundel itself. I think I'm going to watch this video right now. I hope you guys are all doing well. I enjoyed the video a lot. I'd appreciate any answers to any of my questions. Sorry with the on hold stuff. It's just I really had to get in touch with my pharmacy, and I didn't want it to be a distraction. Still really enjoyed the video. Hope you guys are doing well, and I'll hopefully see you next video. Bye, guys.